That is just absolutely awesome and gives me great hope for the second half of this administration. Hi, this is Mike Maloney with Alan Hibbard, and we've got something that is both informative, hopeful, and hilarious for you. Alan, how are you doing?
I'm great, Mike. Thank you. How are you?
Good. So show me what you put together.
Excellent. Well, I want to talk about Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency. And it all starts with a tweet from Elon Musk. This is from just, I guess, last week. America's A team is usually building companies in the private sector. Once in a long time, reforming government is important enough that the A team allocates time to government. This is that time.
Boy, and it's long overdue. That is for sure. Every time a dollar is taken out of the real economy where goods and services are created and put over into the government, where the government is going to do something with it, but that dollar is funneled through the bureaucracy first. And so there's very little of it left by the time it comes spitting out and pays a teacher or something like that. It's not the whole dollar that ends up hopefully improving your lives. But a lot of what the government does is exactly the opposite of improving our lives. So yeah, there was another tweet that I saw where Elon Musk was saying that everything that this Doge department does is going to be posted online so people can look at it and say, no, don't cut that. That's way too important. Or they're going to see he's actually going to do a leaderboard of the stupidest government spending there is, which he said was going to be both tragic and comical. So It should be interesting. And everybody has input on what this A team is going to be doing. I see a bright future being created by this team. So yeah, let's.
Absolutely. So what this all comes from, by the way, is Elon tweeted out something from the Trump-Vance transition team, again from last week. He said it's a statement here from President Donald J. Trump. And I want to read this whole thing just to give you a sense. It's three paragraphs here. It's got over 50 million views so far. And let me read it here. A statement from President Trump. I am pleased to announce that the great Elon Musk, working in conjunction with American patriot Vivek Ramaswamy, will lead the Department of Government Efficiency, Doge.
That's hilarious.
Together, these two
If anybody doesn't know, Elon Musk jokes quite often about Dogecoin, which was originally created as a joke, and it has done extremely well. So
yes, okay. with his support largely. I mean, it is a meme coin, but he's a big fan of humor, so can't blame him.
Yes.
Together, these two wonderful Americans will pave the way for my administration to dismantle government bureaucracy, slash excess regulations, cut wasteful expenditures, and restructure federal agencies, essential to the Save America movement. This will send shockwaves through the system and anyone involved in government waste, which is a lot of people, stated Mr. Musk. So this is like the kind of thing that we dream of. We never thought it would happen, but maybe it's finally here. We'll see. We'll see if it happens.
Well, I look at this from an entrepreneur's standpoint, and I've been an entrepreneur all my life, starting businesses. Some of them failed. Some of them were like break-even things that I just sort of shut down because I knew I wasn't going to become wealthy doing that. But I also have to have some sort of mission in anything that I'm involved with, where I'm helping to change things, where I'm pushing stuff forward. It can't just be something where I'm getting a paycheck out of it. So, but what I've noticed is that from the 80s to today, it is like 10 times harder to start and run a business today than it was back then. And that is a bad road to be going down. That limits prosperity for all of society. And so I'm really glad to see this happening.
Yeah, me too. And yeah. So continuing here, statement from Trump, it will become potentially the Manhattan Project of our time. Republican politicians have dreamed about the objectives of Doge for a very long time. To drive this kind of drastic change, the Department of Government Efficiency will provide advice and guidance from outside of government and will partner with the White House and Office of Management and Budget to drive large-scale structural reform and create an entrepreneurial approach to government never seen before.
Excellent.
Yeah, entrepreneurial approach. Yeah, there's good incentives. Like the market will tell you if you're spending your dollar efficiently, and if not, you can't spend it that way. I look forward to Elon and Vivek making changes to the federal bureaucracy with an eye on efficiency and at the same time making life better for all Americans. Importantly, we will drive out the massive waste and fraud which exists throughout our annual $6.5 trillion of government spending. They will work together.
$6.5 trillion.
No.
You know, this is just if you went back to the year 2000, this would have been unfathomable. Nobody would have believed that this would have been possible. $6.5 trillion of spending. So go ahead. I'm sorry I interrupted.
No, it's massive. No, it's yeah. They will work together to liberate our economy and make the U.S. government accountable to we the people. Their work will conclude no later than the 4th of July, 2026, so about a year and a half. A smaller government with more efficiency and less bureaucracy will be the perfect gift to America on the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. I am confident they will succeed.
That is just absolutely awesome and gives me great hope for the second half of this administration. I do believe that they're going to be dealing with some sort of gigantic financial crisis, banking crisis, whatever. Something will happen sometime soon. There, like I've said in many videos, there is just too much energy built up. The economy has been too warped with the way the Federal Reserve responds to everything and tries to constantly force everything into these gigantic bubbles, thinking that the bubble century is normal, and it is not. And that's the reason the scale of these bubbles and crashes keeps on getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But this gives me great hope that, at the last half of this term, this administration, and then leaving the economy and the structure. So whoever wins next time, they're at least dealing with something that's going to be on the upswing. This is a reason to be investing in America. So
absolutely.
Excellent.
I agree completely. Yes. So something else here. I mean, people might ask, why is Elon getting involved?
Yeah. Well, I knew what this one was going to be about, so I actually sent you this link.
That's right. You did.
Which originally came from Dan. But
yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So the comment here is, this is what happens when Elon Musk enters an industry. And this is, do you want to explain this? You are.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at, this is the cost per kilogram to launch something into orbit. So you've got a payload. How much does it weigh? It weighs so many kilograms. The dollars expended to put that up into space. And you can see the high point was the space shuttle at about over $52,000 per kilogram. And then the green line is Elon Musk entering the industry. And you can see 8 and 9 are Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy launches, which have already occurred. So this is now history. And the Falcon Heavy, you're talking around so from $52,000 to $1,500, $1,500. And then the target with the Starship is under $200. So 52,000 to 200. This is the type of efficiency. When you look at Tesla, and I've owned, my first Tesla was a 2010. My second was a 2011. The third Tesla was the 599th Model S off of the line in 2012. And And so this is what happens. Electric cars were very expensive to make, and Elon Musk lost a lot on the roadsters. Every roadster was created at an enormous loss. And then the Model S, they started making a profit on. But, my first Model S cost 120 something thousand, 128,000, I think, back in 2012. And now you can buy, and that did, I think the 0 to 60 was 4.2 seconds, and it only had a rear motor. Now it's a dual motor. It does 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds. It's safer. It drives itself. My 2012 didn't have the hardware to ever be able to take advantage of full self-driving. There's just, it's a completely different car and vastly superior. And the cost has come down about 20% during all of this raging inflation. So you're talking about 12 years later, and the cost has been falling. Another thing I want to point out is, excluding the Chinese companies, Tesla is the only electric car. They're the only producer of electric cars that can make a profit on electric cars. Everybody else that's producing an electric car does so at a loss. And they're the most profitable car company on earth. And so you take these models of how he does things. He's got a couple of mottos. The best part is no part, and the best process is no process. So you want to eliminate as many things as possible. He's going to bring this to government, eliminating as many things as possible to get everything flowing as well as it can. The first principles, he starts with, what is the commodity cost of a car? What does the steel and the lithium and the aluminum and the copper and everything else that's in the car costs? How can we drive the cost of a finished car as close to that as possible? What I see in this chart right here, that green line represents the Department of Government Efficiency, cutting costs of our government, which leaves more tax dollars in the real economy. Those dollars don't need to be taken. Hopefully, the deficit spending will stop, because the deficit spending always shows up as inflation somewhere. You can't do deficit spending without causing, there's repercussions to all deficit spending. So it either indebts us in the future or it causes big inflation. And so this chart here gives me great hope, hopefully working with Vivek Ramaswamy, that this team can do some amazing things in a very short time. And like you said, did you say about a year and a half? A little bit more?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking from inauguration from January until the 4th of July. It's about a year and a half that they'll be able to do this. Yeah.
Wow. Well, that is a big task and a very short time to do it. But we have seen, when Elon Musk acquired Twitter, that was a complete dumpster fire, just losing tons of cash every single day. And they were doing heavy censorship, deplatforming, and he bought that, turned it around amazingly quickly, and then introduced an AI program, and they've caught up. Microsoft and Google and others have been working on this for years, and they've caught up in this incredibly short time. And I really think that these people can do this for government. That gives me great hope, because when you look at the Economic Freedom of the World report produced up in Canada, you see that they audit all of these different countries. It's 168 different countries or something now that they audit annually. And the bigger government gets compared to GDP, the higher the level of taxations and the more regulations, the worse that government starts to do. And so hopefully, we're down in, like, we used to be number one in their economic freedom of the world report. And for a while, we dropped to number 12 after the Patriot Act. We're back up to like number 6. But I want to see us get back to number 1 again, because in that report is the big prediction, the roadmap to the future of our country, of our society, of how long you're going to live, how happy you're going to be, how wealthy you're going to be. Even the poorest in a society are wealthier in the most economically free countries than they are in the countries that are trying to redistribute all the wealth and make everybody equal. The proof is in the pudding there. The proof, there's results. You can see what happens when a government has one policy or another. And getting rid of government waste, lifting a bunch of these regulations, creating sunset laws for all laws, where they have to be looked at periodically and reinstated, so rolled over basically, or the law vanishes. This will lead to great prosperity, I believe. What's your opinion?
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. Yeah, slash it. It's like Javier Milei. Afuera, afuera, right? Every department, get it out of there.
Yep.
And the government, for the most part, doesn't belong in most of the industries that it's currently tinkering with. So, and tinkering is, putting it mildly. So, yeah, get it out of there and have these sunset provisions. And I'm very optimistic.
Yep.
I hope that this happens the way it's proposed.
Yes, and hopefully next on the chopping block is the Federal Reserve.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, I agree completely. Well, yeah, I have one thing I want to leave our viewers with. It's a pretty hilarious video. I hope no one gets offended. It is about government employees, and of course, the government is the number one employer in the country. But I do find it very funny. So I want to leave you guys with this. This is Elon watching federal employees enter the private sector.